Yeah, welcome in the Worktalk collaboration, the other law of the jingle, of the jungle, not the jingle. I don't know why I'm saying that.
It's Christmas
And
time.
maybe,
Time for the jungle jingle.
maybe that's it. Yeah. Yeah, and there's plenty of things to say about how this Worktalk just originated. It came from an article that I shared about a collaboration that happened in France where I live. and and we had this constant talk with Nicole, and then the necessity for having a walk talk about collaboration just emerged. So that's a bit of the history and the connections.
And for my part about that, it's that reading this article about the collaboration that Gabriel had created with this group in France of people not only who were experienced using possibility management, but people who were quite new to it also. And the experiments I've been doing in my own life, and people like you, Anton, within Lakesh, and you, Gemma, with your project in Israel, you, Val. I'm in just so many edge workers I know are experimenting with creating these collaborative spaces and then having all this feedback, just like beeps and goes and so much feedback about what works and what doesn't. And I it's so clear to me that there's so much more to it than anyone anyone can tell. And even people who have been deep in this research for a really long time still talk about how much more there is to discover and learn and figure out. And so, yeah, I just had this hunger for a space where people come together and like cross pollinate their cutting edge research. Not like, oh, I figured this out 10 years ago, but like I figured this out yesterday or 5 minutes ago, even just to really be on the edge together.
I'm quite curious about with which necessities you have coming in this work talk. Like, what is your personal research? What is your age? Where you are at? Like, what is the things that you are discovering and like going with?
Well, I'll share. I'm losing my voice, so sorry if you can't hear me.
Gemma, I have an experiment for you. Is speak from your
Yeah,
center.
thank you.
Yeah, go.
I find collaborating a constant challenge. I have a vision of how I want it to be, and I don't know how to do it. So I'm learning how to be like a boss. Like I have people who work with me and I pay them and it's my way. And I try to make it as collaborative as possible. Like I want for it to be more collaborative. So I experiment with that. But I always find that when there's a hierarchy, there is some clarity. And when I'm trying to make it, I've been part of some collaborations that have worked, like where like the one that most worked was 5 women, and we created a women's retreat. And it was really, it came through really in the feminine way, and the collaboration was really very, I don't know, like we were all in from the beginning. We were all in, but there were a lot of like, it was challenging. That like there was one person I remember who was more at the front, and she was happy to take the lead, and then there were others of us who were more kind of in the background. And to me, it's like my natural role, I think, is to be in the background. And if someone comes with an idea, I'm like the supporter. But now, lately, I've been experimenting more with leading with my ideas. And then I don't know how to bring people in with me. Like I always feel like well, not always, that I notice that that when there are other people interested in joining me, I have a lot of enthusiasm for them to join. And I have a fear, an unconscious fear that will scare them off. And then they don't join in. And maybe it comes from like a need, like I can't do this alone, a story that I can't do this alone.
I'm going to get you to pause there. Already I hear so much. I hear this lead and follow, or lead and others lead. And what you said about the boss and the hierarchy, I find this is already, it's like, it's almost as if I hear you trying to make it work with a hierarchy, and then discovering that it has worked as a 5 cell where there was one person who often did take the lead. And I mean, there's so much in there. There's just already so much. I love it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I will go on. And well, I come from living in a community with 8 people for 3 years, and we had always lots of guests, so we were probably around 12, 15 people, not constantly, but most of the time. And I got out of this project, and now I want to start a new project just with 2 people and my partner from this previous community. And it's about redefining all the ways of how I want to live my life full out in collaboration with other people. And yeah, and I want to know, like, yeah, I'm looking for, okay, what is it that I care about and that I want to bring in? What is it that I want to hold space for? And yeah, I go energetically a bit more to this project. Yeah, something that's important for me is having clear where's my space holding and where's the other space holding. That's something that I learned from the previous group, that was not clear, and then we had a lot of responsibility. And so, for example, nobody cared for the houses, and they were just slowly disintegrating. They have drips from the roof, and so this is, yeah, we responsibility, and then like real responsibility. This is something that I'm investigating in collaboration.
I
So
want to
yeah,
make sure I get what you're saying. Is that in the project that happened, that ended,
yeah,
there were examples of there would be something that needed to be taken care of, and we would take care of it. So you're using this we responsibility where nobody takes responsibility.
Yes.
And so
This is
more you're wanting to create a team of space holders in the context of radical responsibility. So it's like, I hear this, so it's us, and you're each part of the group, but you're each distinct space holders and distinct agents in the group. Am I getting it?
Yeah. What's important for me is to have that clear who holds space for what. And then if there's no space holder for something, then this will not exist. Or we need to get rid of it. Or it will by itself just like nobody wants it, why have it?
I love it. I see this happen a lot where a group, especially a group, comes together in a certain location where there are things to take care of, or else they deteriorate, like these buildings you're talking about. And it's almost as if the group doesn't have all the people that it would need to take care of all the things it has taken responsibility for. And then it becomes just low drama because then people become a victim of the infrastructure.
Totally.
And then start these arguments, or this low drama about, should, or making it wrong or bad, rather than being like, okay, this is the reality. This isn't going to work. Now what do we do?
Yeah.
Anton, are there any other like big chunks of gold from, in Lakesh, you were part of this project for a long time. What are the other things that you're especially bringing with you to this space to say, this, we really screwed up, or I really screwed up. Like this didn't work. Look out for this.
Yeah. One thing that looking back didn't work for me was that it was so much focused on the we, as if like, okay, everybody takes care of us, and then we will take care of each one.
So what would you say was like underneath that was like, that happened because this?
Hmm. Maybe everybody wanted somebody else to take care of them, or I wanted also, like I had the expectation that the group would take care of me. Like if I go into a group, then everything would work out, because that was my story of how an eco village would work. Like, I go there and then it will work.
Yeah.
That's the way of how human beings should live.
Thank you for owning this part about having expectations, and then when the expectations don't get met, I think, I mean, this is really alive for me right now. In a way, this is what I bring today as my edge, is this, these the hidden competing commitments, where in the open, what I have is my conscious purpose, and my and you know and what I'm consciously holding space for is moving me in this direction to take responsibility, to create, to collaborate. And then there are my hidden competing commitments that are pulling me in the other direction. Things like I'm committed to revenge because I'm not getting what I want. I'm not getting what I expect. And I'm not asking for it. I'm expecting people to read my mind and to, to really rescue me. And when they don't, then like this gremlin part of me is like, fuck you. Then I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna abandon you too. And so even while I'm got this conscious commitment to collaboration and co-creation, I'm also got this hidden commitment about ditching and disappearing and revenge. I have great news about this, which is that on Monday there will be a space. I will hold space for the hidden competing commitments process. It's mostly a written process, and if you want to join that space, let me know. I will add you to the group.
It looks like a Eco Village meme, what you shared, Anton. Thank you for sharing your research. And Val, I would like to know you. I don't know you yet, and I would love to connect with you.
Hi, I'm Val, and thank you for letting me join this. I'm really interested in it because I'm starting 2 groups right away. I kind of got pushed into starting these groups because I decided to go to university and start learning about social work. So I was taking 4 courses, and social work's a lot about advocacy and all of that. So there was a lot of push to get us to do things. And I realized pretty quickly that I didn't really want to volunteer or work for other agencies because I've had groups before, but my groups were the Artist.We groups. And then I spent a lot of, like, most of my main part of my life career was being a dental hygienist. So I was pretty used to like being around people all the time, dealing with people, one-on-one, like solving problems, but more one-on-one. When I've done groups like the Artist.We, I've really enjoyed it. But I have to think about Anton's what he was saying about his experiments is like, yeah, sometimes I had one group that was just a disaster. It was so bad. Part of it was a very small group, like there was just ended up being me and 2 other people, and I knew that wouldn't work, but then I just wow. And then I had an agenda. So like Nicole was saying, like I probably had like I'm thinking, like I kind of wrote it down, like the hidden commitments. Pretty quickly I got into revenge and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I was mad at that group, but I had 2 really great groups. So now oh yeah, and the wanting to ditch, oh my God, that was really alive for me in that one Artist.We group. So like that was quite a few years ago. So that's not really like my goal. Like Nicole was saying, like she wants to know like the cutting edge stuff. That's kind of more in the past. So cutting edge stuff it hasn't quite started yet. It's gonna start for me in January, like holding groups. So yeah. I'll be doing, sorry.
Could you speak a bit slower?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm very sorry. Yes, because some people English will be a second language, right?
And
it's just you bring so much information, even though I understand every word you say, it's just I cannot process it because it's too much, and I would like to really get what you're saying. So if you continue a bit slower, it might be easier, and yeah, for all and you might even be more present in the space.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. It's certainly good to hear it from another guy because my husband's always like, I don't know, you talk so fast, like I can't keep up. So, okay. Okay. Should I just
Valerie, what would you consider being your like you sense there is an edge and you are coming with 2 groups, 2 new groups soon? And
Yes.
is there a fear about those groups? Is there something alive regarding those groups that you kind of question and come with in this call?
Well, okay, so the trauma peer group, I mean, the only fear I have is because there's just 5 of us, if I have a day where, I guess that really isn't even a fear. That could happen that, everybody can't come. There's always, it's important to bond and give people value, so that they'll keep coming. But at the end of the day, I mean, I want to do it for 12 weeks, but we'll see how it goes. I'm doing it for free. I don't feel like I have a lot of fear around that group.
And Val, the proposal, and are you okay for me to call you Val? Because I see Val, I know your name is Valerie. I just want to check
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yes, that's
And
fine.
the thing is that in the tool that we use, I don't know if you're conscious about possibility management, for example, or already, yes. And
Yes.
in the tool we use, we kind of slow down to listen to our feelings,
Yeah.
to kind of connect to the awareness that they have for us, like the intuition, the gold that there is in the intelligence of the heart. And what I hear and what I smell from your sharing is that there is a fear. You kind of judge it as a low fear, so it's like not so really important. And at the same time, I keep hearing this fear. I could like smell it or sense it. Uh, and
Okay.
and like if you would give more space to that fear, like what would be the smell or the taste, the intuition that there is in this fear that drives you to actually like, okay, there is something coming up with this group. So you want to try and share from that fear?
Um, I think what's hard for me about it is like it's such a minor fear compared to like some of the other things I've had to deal with in the last year that it just feels very trivial. I'm just sort of like, whatever, fear is just there. It's just part of, and it's not um
Anton, I know you
like
have
in some
some.
ways it doesn't really matter to me how it turns out. You know what I mean? Like I mean, I'm going to focus, set the attention, be there for each group, but I'm sort of like there's a wanting to not be super attached to it and just flow with whatever the next thing is and how it goes, because I like really trust that the process, like I totally trust the process. I think that the people that come will get what they need from it if they connect with other people who've had trauma. They'll also, that's great. Like I
Val,
don't, it's just so minor to me, the fears that, yeah.
I'm I'm gonna pause you there because what I heard Gabriel ask was was essentially a yes or no question. Will you let the fear get bigger and get the information from it? And what I noticed about where you went with it was again in this direction of, oh, it's just a small kind of, I can't remember the word you used, but it was a
Review.
synonym for like insignificant
Yeah.
fear, and there are other things are more important. And what I'm getting is there's a lot of judging happening about what's important, what's not important, and it is mostly about like, it's almost like, so I'm not going to feel it, so I'm not going to dive in. And what I've discovered in my efforts to collaborate in 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 whatever kind of project, even with a a romantic partnership, you know, teaming up with the father of my children, or that it has been, I've traced so much back, so much of what didn't work back to I didn't make time, I didn't let myself feel, especially at those low intensities. And this also came from this thought where too that, you know, feeling's not important. It's, you know, what I'm doing is important. The process, the results are important. And it looks like it's good enough to try, safe enough for now. So I'm going to just go ahead with it and not look at those small, lower intensity feelings, especially fear, but also anger and sadness and joy even. And I find that, yeah, I wouldn't want you to miss the wisdom and the precious information and energy that comes when you do, like, let your heart, let what's happening in your heart, these feelings, really happen. And it may not be that this particular fear is the one to dive into. There might be a, you know, a bigger feeling somewhere that has like a mother load of energy and information.
I come with a proposal because we kind of stop the sharings here, and we kind of focus on something mainly with his fear. And I want to give space for that, for the fear of collaborating as a resource and as a fuel for the space. And my proposal is to be like, I would divide the group in two, or like breakout rooms and being pairs or triples, and to distill the fear that we have of collaborating, like as a bit like you start naming the fear, Valerie, and my proposal is like to keep going with that, and to notice where you judge the fear, or when you try to make it aside, and instead stay with it. And so there will be one person who will be person A, who is the one who is sharing the fear, and person B, you are the person who is the coach, the fear coach, like the one who says, like, focus on the fear, stay on the fear, or you're putting this fear aside. What's happening if you feel more the fear in your nervous system, in your body, etc. And the let's say the weird thing is that the coach is also sensing the fear, because that's where here comes your intuition that the other is not really listening to his fear, or like not really attuned to his fear or whatever. So this is the experiment, and I propose it 5 minutes each, like 10 minutes in total. And so for the one who are in triples, you can choose like for 3 minutes, for example, 3 minutes each. And any wish for being with someone in particular?
No.
Okay. I try to create rooms. I try to collaborate with Zoom. Okay, he wants me to collaborate. Okay.
While you're creating those Zooms, breakout Zooms, Gabriel, I love that this is already collaboration. To go into a team and to hold space for each other, to say, I feel scared about collaborating because, and really get those layers. This is already radical collaboration.
Yeah. And you can also choose someone you feel scared of being with in a room. So that would be another way of choosing.
I'm scared of all of you.
Yes, you're scared of?
All of you.
Okay.
Perfect.
Great.
Let Echo decide, the Earth's Coincidence Control Office.
Then we have 2 rooms created, and yeah, 10 minutes, not 20, I said. 10 minutes. Yes, good. All right, let's go. See you in a few minutes. Did you receive the link? Yes. Okay. And welcome back. And please take a deep breath and just take a moment to recenter, reground, rebubble in your culture. And yeah, what about starting sharing what is the goal of the fear? What is the wisdom of the fear somehow?
I just celebrate that it's with all the training that it's becoming already so much easier to just notice the fear and be with it.
Yeah, it's a tricky feeling, isn't it? The fear.
Yeah.
And welcome back also, Valerie and Nicole, in the space. Just allow yourself to breathe in while you come back, as if you have left a room and it's another room. I discovered by my side that I got really, really intrigued by the fear. Like, one of my main fear is that it will work, actually, that collaboration will work. And therefore I will have more work to do, like more investigation, like as being a victim of my discovery and my the thing is working, is rolling. Yeah, and I'm still impressed by this fear, like it doesn't stand into something rational. There is no box to fit that fear in. And I want to check if someone has the same fear as me. Okay. And you too, okay. I'm kind of wanting to open the space for sharing of fear and see if there is resonance in the space. Like, raise your hand if you have resonance about one of the fear that is shared.
I know I got to this, like, this fear of how it goes, just and how invisible how it's going can be. Like my fear of how my hidden commitments and resentment play in, and then fear about how other people's also their you know their commitment to numbness, their commitment to gremlin food eating, their commitment to low drama, like all of those commitments that even the most enthusiastic edge workers I've ever met, they still have that on some level. And it's because what's invisible is invisible. And fear that, yeah, just that something like, yeah, fear that that people will secretly not be on my team, not want to be on my team. And then
I
I'll be
have,
just left in the dust.
I have a similar fear, which I connect to fear of the meta conversation. Like in a new group of people, I don't know if it resonates or not. I want to check. Maybe it's another one. In a new group of people that are new to this context, I have the fear of meta conversation. Oh, there will be a huge resistance in talking about the talking, talking about what we talk. It's like, oh, and like I visualize like I don't know, an old fat man that will say no to me, like, and resisting and rule the space. This is a bit what is coming to me. And I don't know why it's there, but I want to see if there are others that have the similar thing.
Yeah, definitely fear of resistance to the meta conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, just fear of, I mean, I think about something that happened a few weeks ago. I was in a space and this somehow something I did, something I said triggered this woman. And she came at me with this sarcasm and this hook. And I was just knocked out. Like I was just, whoa. And I was like unhookable enough that I wasn't hooked into reactivity, but I was still hookable into being like frozen, like I like just into my box. Like,
And you kind of describing the experiment, Nico. What if you share a bit your feeling about that?
yeah, scared that I don't catch my own gremlin's reactivity.
Yeah.
And then I think what happens is I use that fear unconsciously to keep learning and experimenting without it being like making it a bigger experiment, making it a bigger game world. Or make a great big game world, but there's no bridge between the game world I have actually right now and this bigger game world that I want. It's really this experience of paddling in one direction while unconscious parts of me are paddling in the other direction.
Mm.
Yeah, I feel so glad to have this hidden competing commitments process on Monday. Ugh.
Is there more fear in the space that you've distilled and you want to check resonance? I want to still go with that. I've noted some fear of being a guru or of being taken back for a guru, like the one who leads.
Because
Because then there will be like, I would be put in a box somehow, or there will be something in me that would accept being put in a box, which is the like really scary. Like, wow, like yeah, I feel angry about that actually. Like, why am I doing that to me? Like, why would I accept that? It's like, yeah, I'm angry
Why
about that.
would you accept it?
Like, accept it to be put in a box.
Yeah, why would you accept it?
Why would I? Because it has 10% truth in it. Like, one part of my box resonates with that. It's like, there is this, yeah, underworld thing about being superior and leading. That is part of, yeah, one of my unconscious thoughts.
I have that. I have that also. It's almost like a two-sided fear. It's like the fear of not just going first to leading, the fear of not leading, because there is that part of me that is wants to and can and loves it, and also fear that if I become the leader, then I would get some kind of trapped in that.
Looks like a prison.
Yeah, the prison, especially of other people's expectation, that when I start to not be able to lead about this or that, then it would be like,
I have to think like as if you would be identified as competent into something, and then you have the expectation of people about your competence, and then you're this specific being or this specific person that has this competence, and that kind of fit into the box, in the collective box.
yeah, yeah, and similar to
I
what
have a
Anton
similar,
was saying. Go ahead, Gemma.
I have a similar kind of experience with it, but a big rejection to it. Like as soon as I feel like anyone is putting me in the box, I have like this teenage rebellion that says, I'm going to do something to show you that that's not me. So I have it, I notice I have it in relationships. Like when I would start to get into relationships, if a man would tell me like the good things about me, then, or what they judged as the good things, I would say, yeah, but I'm also like this and like this and like this. Like it's like my gremlin wants to say like I'm here too, and like really scream it. And so that's like when I'm creating something from my bright principles, that's when my gremlin comes to sabotage, to say like you can't be that all the time, you can't be in your bright principles all the time, you can't be working hard all the time, you can't be on track all the time, like you've got to
Looks like a gremlin hook, Gemma.
yeah, yeah. And that's like I don't know if that's a fear with collaboration, because my sense with collaboration is that I will come to it at the times when I'm ready for it, and then when my gremlin comes in, then I'll just step back. But the fear is that if I step, that I won't step back, that I'll be like the fear that if I step back, then it will fall apart. If I step back, then people won't trust me. If I step back, then I'm not following through on things, that I'm letting people down, that that it can't happen without me there all the time. So the fear is that like I don't listen to myself, that I don't listen to my boundaries, that I don't
I want still to scan if there are more fear with resonance in the space so that we kind of harvest And afterwards, I want to go in another space.
I just found one fear to be rejected when I want to have collaboration. And so I rather don't reach out to people that I would like collaborate with because they might not want to collaborate with me.
So you start with the fear of being rejected and then the fear that they will reject you.
Mm-hmm. Is there two different fears?
I'm asking, I don't know. What do you think?
I will feel it. Um, for me, it's one.
I checked it out too, and something I noticed is that there are people who I'm not so scared of being rejected by, and there are people who I really want to collaborate with, and I'm more scared they will reject me. And I notice with it, what sometimes I do is I go to the people I'm not so scared of being rejected by and ask them to collaborate with me. And then they say yes, and I end up collaborating with them instead of the people I really want to collaborate with.
Huh.
So there's something to this like general fear and then the specific fears underneath. Like I feel scared of collaborating in general, and I feel scared of collaborating with you or you or you or you. Like different fears come up, I think, or I notice that different fears come up.
What do you think is the reason that some people are you're more scared of?
Some of it is I feel scared because I notice like, or I want to collaborate with them because I notice they have competence I don't have that I want to learn. I also feel scared, but I want to collaborate with people who have more clarity and they're more dangerous to me. They have sharper swords or they have bigger gremlins. And then yeah, and then I feel scared and I don't want to collaborate so much with people who have smaller gremlins, not such sharp swords, not so competent, but then I feel scared because then it's like up to me to bring that conscious awareness.
You feel scared about, I hear the fear of competence beneath the two. It's like having too much or too less.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
like I'm noticing that my fear is so helpful because on one side I fear being judged as good, on one side I fear being judged as bad. I fear being judged as competent, I fear being judged as incompetent. I fear being judged as wrong, I fear being judged as right. I feel being judged, and then I fear not to be judged. I fear that someone wouldn't have like clarity enough to say that's not working or that is working, go.
I feel kind of joy because right now I imagine that would happen in, like, we are in a Worktalk and in real life coming up with a new group. What would happen if we would share all our fears like that openly? It's like I feel a lot of joy about that possibility, that this possibility exists. And
Oh, I got another one. I fear collaboration because of how sometimes the group gets locked, even like with one other person or a three cell. And what my fear has for me about that, I think this is where it starts to become way more fun too, is like, oh, thank you, fear, for this wisdom that you bring, that I want to do this collaboration in view of a wider circle. Like I want my partnership experiments, I want us to have people we're each collaborating about our competence.
What do you mean?
To not do it like invisibly to the village, to have people that I'm being radically honest with about how it's going for me, and they would have people they're being radically honest about how it's going with them, and that maybe even some of those people talk to each other. Yeah, just this
Have you
comes
stopped
back to
that
this.
from becoming like a gremlin play of gossiping and talking about like that feels scary to me.
Yeah, I had
Yeah,
the fear of hidden life. Like the group
yeah,
has a hidden life, and it's kind of there is a plot, or even not a plot, but there is a hidden life. I really resonate a lot with that fear of hidden life.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Valerie, do you have a fear that to share?
Yeah, I think I can resonate with, like all of what everyone's saying, there's so many fears involved in being with groups, like whether it's the hidden life of the group is interesting. Nicole's talking about competence. I can relate to that for sure. Like a
Where
lot
you,
I hear about honesty, like people just not being honest. And there's
mm,
just so much that comes from people not being clear about what they want. What like it's not easy for people to, I think we all realize it's not easy for people to articulate exactly all these things that we're talking about right now. They're very articulated in ways that shows that everybody in this group has spent a lot of time thinking about these things. But yeah, you get into groups where people don't think about these things. It can be, there's always fears around, like, is this going to be a really honest group, or is this going to be
Mm.
a group where people aren't going to say when things aren't working for them, why it isn't working for them, what they want, what they don't want? Sure. I mean, I don't, because I was talking about the trauma group, I just feel like I don't have a lot of fear around that group, but there's more fear around the sort of like the climate cafe or earth cafe group that I'm starting. And I think that's why I've done less work on it, and I've done less like sort of trying to find people for it. So I'm a little bit behind when I can start it, because there's more fear for me around being in, not in my house, but in a strange place and potentially attracting people that I don't know very well.
Mm.
And so like this group that I'm doing here, these are all the trauma group. Like, I mean, I've been careful, I think because of fears, to sort of only ask people that, like Nicole was saying, the people that you kind of trust, like they're not necessarily you're not taking the risk, right, to collaborate with the scary people. That you're just being safe, right? So I'm like, I need to be safe because this is trauma stuff, and I just don't want to be dealing with other people's trauma if they on top of it are going to be people that aren't really in touch. A perfect example is I just started hanging out with this lady that I've known for years, but we've never been friends. We ran into each other, and she was just at my house yesterday, and I'm like, her daughter died here a few years ago, and I know she'd really benefit from this trauma group, but I cannot bring myself to ask her to join because I just feel like she's going to be so disruptive and she's so unconscious. So, but yeah, so when I think about the Earth Cafe or Climate Cafe, there's more fears because that's going to be more, it
I,
feels like
I,
not as cohesive to hold together, because the premise of it isn't about sharing your inner feelings. So as soon as I get into groups where the
mm,
premise isn't on sharing the inner feelings, I get into territory where I'm like, how am I going to keep this group together? So yeah.
I think it's perfect because it's opening the door for the next process that I was thinking of. And this is exactly where like I want to go. It's where the slight fear is. Not the biggest one, but the slight fear. And here you talk about the disruptive energy and that you're scared about that, Val, for example. And I would start with the question, who are the people you are afraid to collaborate with? And that would be the question that we do as a coach and again as a client. And again, we will be 3 in a room and 2 in a room. And I will take 15 minutes because 15 minutes were more working in the last one. Any fear you have to be with someone, so that you can also use this fear now to be with someone in the room. And say why, maybe. No fear about saying that.
Yeah, I'm afraid to be with Val in a group. And because I'm afraid to cut you when you speak too much. And that you might take that personal. And I'm afraid that I cannot roll the space and use what you say because I let myself get too full of it and then yeah have too much unconscious anger in setting my boundaries like that. So I want to practice that with you.
Cool. I feel I was looking at you, Gemma, and then I still want to be with you. And my fear is that and I was also afraid of being with you, Nicole. So my fear is kind of driving to you both.
Repeating fears.
So be with both of us.
And if I want to be really honest or just speak my fear as a fear of being too radical with what I'm gonna say with you, Gemma, and a fear of kind of being disruptive or something like that. It's not very clear with you, Nicole. Yeah, I want to go with that then. Yeah, okay. I don't know. Yes, I can change, recreate manually.
Could one repeat again what we will do in the record room now?
Yes.
Who are the people you say who the people are that you are scared to collaborate with? And
Yeah.
You're scared to collaborate with them because.
Okay.
Sign. Yeah, that's it. Room are open. A deep breath and I want just to say and because my mind was going fast a moment. I just paused for a moment. Somehow, yes, we had this important conversation with Nicole and Gemma about this willingness to collaborate and what is happening when we say no to collaboration also.
something just came to me about that like, because so many of us have this fear of, if we ask someone to collaborate and they will say no to us, that we'll be rejected, that fear of rejection. And that's like kind of, it's connected for me with what you just said, Nicole, about I want to be able to say yes to everyone. I want to be able to collaborate with everyone.
It was different. It wasn't, I don't want to be able to say yes, but I want to be able to say yes when I want to say yes, because I'm have enough competence to be able to handle it.
Mm.
You
But
want
is
Without
to
there a
be,
fear of
into
saying
low
no?
drama.
Is there a fear of saying no to people that you don't want to collaborate with?
Yes. Yes, there's a fear of saying no to people I don't want to collaborate with, because then they might think that think I'm so superior and that I don't think they're good enough. And then they would, yeah, then their gremlins would come out. Like if there was an expectation that I would say yes, then their gremlins would come out and take revenge somehow. And if they did that, then yeah, this fear of being known widely as a horrible person.
wow.
Yeah.
That's probably an emotional healing process doorway.
Yeah. I kind of scan also something like yeah, this difficulty to say no, or to I don't know. I wanted to share something that happened with the possibility team, I'm running on site, and that we both disagree. Like me and my partner, we're opening a group for a local place, and for constituting the group, and I have a yes for one person and she has a no for the same person. And because I was a yes, she kind of went deeper in her fears and get to, oh, actually, I'm afraid that this person is a witch. Like this person has this witch quality, and I'm afraid of the witches. And she kind of went into her fear, and like, and I sense that there is something like that into collaboration like this. Is it a real fear, or is it a superficial fear?
What's the distinction?
Well,
I would say whether it's conscious fear or unconscious fear.
Or about the past, or about the present.
yeah, yeah, something about the now.
Yeah, emotional, or yeah, emotional or a feeling. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens when I don't go deeper to find out where the fear really comes from, but I use it. I might be using an emotion, and I kill the possibility of all kinds of experimenting and discovery.
I found in my space with Val, I'm afraid to collaborate with people in, like, for example, Ana Norambuena, who I respect a lot for all her matrix and her sword. And I was so afraid of a woman with a big sword and matrix. And that she could just put on the table everything she sees about me. And I am and then and I get it that I would get to the point like I don't want to change these things, or I'm like, even though mentally I would like to change that, like my box is still so holding on to that stuff that I cannot crack that yet. And one of these things is like, I like to be so procrastinating or being lazy or uh in the yeah my underworld is so much like, no, we don't change these things. So I'm afraid to, yeah, I'm afraid of people seeing through my survival strategies.
What happened if so?
Uh, I'm naked. They could just see me. And what? And it, they would see the things that I'm ashamed about.
And what? Like, what's so bad about that?
Um, it, yeah, I'm afraid then of their judgment, of the negative judgment of their, and also turning away from me and saying like, I just don't want to have anything to do with that guy.
Scared that they would then see you and turn away from you and say, I don't want anything to do with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then what?
Yeah, and then it also, eh, I'm afraid also to be bad, to, or that, yeah, to be kind of like confirmed that there's something wrong with me, to have a confirmation of that.
Because
Yeah. Uh, wait, I don't want to be a bad guy. I don't want to be wrong or, yeah. Uh,
What happened if someone says to you, I don't want to do anything with you? What happened if you, in your emotional body?
yeah, I feel sad of, of, of this, yeah, of this rejection, of this, oh, I'm alone then. Yeah, I'm afraid to touch really some emotional sadness. Yeah, I noticed that the cat uh there's something bigger in something. Yeah, this is there's some past stuff that I'm afraid to get triggered. That I would feel that again.
It's probably the moment of the Taurus where someone put the, the purple card and say you have an emotion and
Yeah.
and
have the doorway clear, Anton.
Yeah. Yeah.
You say it.
It's this fear to be that nobody wants to play with me.
Yeah, that nobody wants to play with you.
Thank you.
I don't know if it's a research of the space, but as there is a bit less than 20 minutes, and I want to name it because it was part of my research when I did this radical collaboration with a group that was new to the work of possibility management. And I came within this group with a lot of anger because I was seeing like the fear were not revealed from the beginning. And instead of that, simple solutions were found very quickly. Like the concept of school was re-emerging. Like people were like, oh, we raise hand and we give the talks to, there is a facilitator and the facilitator gives the hand to the one that are raising the hand and count the hand, you know, and it's kind of very flat relating. And this kind of yeah, I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of this flat collaboration, that there is also this option, like yeah, that there's this alternative way of dealing with, and I'm scared about talking about also about sociocracy in a way, because could also happen there the same way.
What was the it that could happen?
That it's flat collaboration.
Mm.
That collaboration with a hidden, I would call it the flat collaboration for me is the collaboration with a hidden life, where in the hidden life of the group, there is non-collaboration.
Mm. And will you say again, I think you said that in this example, you came with anger. And did you say then this space became this flat, like more like a school collaboration?
Yeah, the thing is that I stand for what I want. I said, I don't want to do that. If you want to raise hand, I won't play that game. And I started talking with the one who was proposing this raising hand thing. And I said, I won't do it. So if you want to do it by your way, do it. But I won't respect your hand raised. I will speak anyway. So.
And then what happened?
We negotiated. Like there was a negotiation, like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Like I'm gonna do it my way, and somehow you cannot do it your way. But what happened is like very quickly the hand didn't work. Like there was no more hand raised. Like so it was like kind of the proposal was abandoned on the way. And I said like, and also I said like, because it's cutting the spontaneity of the group. Like if
Gabriel, will you say your purpose sharing this? Because I got the sense there was something else about it.
I sense that there is a story world and a fantasy world that collaboration is possible without dealing with the emotional realm.
Mm.
And that this is pure bullshit.
Yeah.
I sense that it is exactly mainstream, new age, or whatever name I can put on it. I feel fear also of putting it in a box. And it's like, it's just like the same fear of the feelings and the emotions.
Yeah. Yeah, this is something that I'm experimenting with also, like a premise or a hypothesis I'm experimenting with, is that if there's high level resistance to feeling and emotion, I'm out. I just can't operate in that. It I've discovered it doesn't work. And I mean, this is partly why I'm so turned on and committed to holding spaces like this one, to somehow, I don't know, develop my competence to say this, to declare this. Collaboration is impossible. It will not work. It will only become hierarchical, more corporate, colonial, power over, power under bullshit relating if these distinctions aren't made between the four feelings, between feelings and emotions, between thinking and feeling. It's doomed. This is what I've discovered. It's doomed. And it dooms not just the project, but it has like a ripple effect to yeah, to fantasize that collaboration can happen without these distinctions. Yeah, I mean, what comes up is like, good luck with that. Like, I hope you can find a way to make it work, because I've never.
Mm.
I feel fear as you're saying that, because the situation that I gave in our group comes up to me, that I really sense that there are feelings going on in her that she is not saying, and that if she doesn't say them, then there's a lot of like the hidden world going on, and it makes me feel really, really scared. And yet, and yet I give a lot of space for feelings. When we meet as a team, I give a lot of space. I ask a lot of questions. I share what I'm feeling, and I'm scared to say to her, just to say to her one-on-one, I feel scared because I feel that you're feeling something that you're not saying.
And Gemma, I feel fear. You have the assumption that she 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 admits that she feels something. My fear is that she doesn't admit that she's feeling. And that you kind of think or have the assumption that she knows what is feeling.
Mm. So what's your proposal for that? Do you have a proposal?
Yeah, I have one, and it's really weird because that's what happened with my neighbors actually. Like we had really difficult encounters in the beginning. Like when I say difficult, it's anger. Like this should be like that, or they had a picture of how the garden should be or something like that, and it didn't work. And instead of resenting them, instead of saying, this is not working or whatever, I went with my joy. I went with my joy to actually like say, hey, this is over. This thing is over. This is the past. Now it's something new. It's like starting over somehow.
What's your proposal, Gabriel?
Then my proposal is to start over with her.
Mm.
Like to name the assumption you have about her, and to drop your expectation about what she might know about her or whatever.
Mm.
And just to start with the joy. Okay. You're like that. Okay. Like discovering someone new.
Yeah, Gemma, I what I hear from you is it sounds like you have an expectation about this woman that she would share her feelings.
And an expectation that she would know how.
Hmm.
I find this
But
is
how does that
often,
fit into the, like, Nicole, what you were just saying was if there's a collaboration where feelings aren't there, where feelings aren't acknowledged and feelings, there's not space for feelings, then you're not interested in being part of it. So how does it work then on the other side? Like if you're making space for feelings, but the other person isn't sharing their feelings.
I mean, it's your game world, so you decide. And if I decided that then I wouldn't collaborate with anybody, I would still be alone. I wouldn't have any possibility right here in this part of the world that I'm living in. So what I've started instead is to invite people to spaces to learn to feel. And this could be part of your game world evolution in your childcare game world, evolving toward it being like a torus shaped game world rather than the hierarchical game world it is right now. And that then it like but to design into it some kind of path where either she gets clear that she wants to leave because she doesn't want to feel, or get clear that she wants to stay and learn to feel and learn to discern and come unnumb and learn to make these distinctions, while you're also using the distinctions yourself to come off of the top of the pyramid, off of the pillar, off of the ivory tower, and make yourself part of the torus.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love that.
I highly recommend, I don't know who here has already read Cavitation, The Emergence of Archaearchy by Clinton Callahan.
Partially, half of it.
Not enough. I highly recommend. There's so many glorious examples of this torus shaped group in motion, pulling in new people and then dividing into the next, like into two toruses. There's so, my book is getting just so thick with, like, here's a sentence to use, here's a process to use, here's more and more clues. I'm reading the book as a torus. I'm starting again and starting again, and I'm getting more and more gold every time. They're whole chapters where I'm like, I don't remember ever reading this chapter.
And it's still I come with also a distinction with a child. Maybe it's a Taurus, and that's something I've been discovering with my neighbor, for example, is like, this movie Doctor Strange. If you've seen it, then I know I don't want to spoil you the scene, but one well, let's say a possibility is to constantly fail. Like you learn to fail, just like, okay, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, but you can learn to constantly fail. It's like you're like, yeah, this is a bit like a smell of what I'm experimenting right now with my neighbors. They surely don't want to feel, and there is space for relating still. I want to still open the space for possibilities, as it was a bit like this essence that was coming up, and maybe about the next steps, because I want to get to know.
Yeah, there's only 4 minutes, and I feel glad to already have written down next steps. And I would love to share about how it goes with each of you as some kind of ongoing space. And I feel scared to even offer that because I have so many ongoing spaces, so many teams where I'm sharing, and so yeah.
Yeah,
What's your fear?
Fear that I would open another space and then it would die from not being used, and then I would have more evidence about I suck.
So what is it that you want to do?
I want to see each of you in other spaces in the not too distant future. And I feel glad because there's Heart Gym, there's the 333 spaces I'm holding, there's the possibility team that started in Canada. So yeah, I will invite you to each of those right now, and possibly again in writing somewhere.
I have another proposal that comes along with the ones you propose, Nicole, is to keep the space open, the Telegram group for collaboration. I don't know if you're in, Valerie, but
Yeah.
yeah, okay. And my proposal is to keep distilling the collaboration in this space, like to keep sharing your research.
And then if nobody holds space for it, it might just die or might not.
I love it because it's already an existing group, and this works for me. And I just changed the name of it because it used to be called Wondrously Workable Villaging, and I changed it to Wondrously Workable Collaboration.
Okay.
I have a proposal that for Nicole, that you judge your brilliance on how many teams you start and not how many die.
I'm going to write that down.
I like that.
Thank you so much for the space, to Gabriel and Nicole. Gave me a lot of food.
Yeah. Thank you. And go. And please, yeah, keep sharing whatever thoughts and feelings you have.
Yeah. I like this space also, and afterwards I might change the name of the Worktalk to the fears of collaboration. That could be kind of like in a more often happening work talk or space.
I love it. Yeah, thank you for the possibility. And like
I would come again, definitely. I like that. There's so much fear to discover.
Yes, the fearful collaborators.
Exactly. The scared collaborator. It could actually be like it could be an EHP dojo for all the fears where they come up. Like, I'm so eager to have my EHP.
Love it. Thank you, Anton.
Yeah.
All right.
Are there any more last words?
Taurus Field Club.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Anton.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie.
Goodbye for now.
Bye for now.